Hey everybody, this week we're going to try drawing a face using good proportions. You can start by drawing an oval on your piece of paper and then divide your oval in half, going both vertically and horizontally. Try to divide it equally in half. You should look like you have a plus sign. Then we're going to take the bottom half of the face and we're going to divide that in half again. It doesn't have to be perfect. Then we're going to take that last bottom section and divide it in half one more time. As you can tell, that line is going to represent our mouth, but we'll save that for a little later. Let's start by drawing our eyes. Remember that if you draw your eyes the right size, you should be able to fit one eye in between your two eyes. So that's why I've drawn these football shapes, and I tried to draw them so that I could fit a third eye in the middle. That's how I know that I didn't draw them too small or I didn't draw them too large. I'm going to go ahead and draw those shapes, and then I'm going to erase everything I drew in the center. I drew circles for the iris, and I drew small dots for the pupil of the eye, and I drew football shapes, like I said, for the outside of the eye shape. I tried to make it look like the eyelid was covering the iris of the eye just a little bit. Remember, the iris is the colored portion of your eye. Remember, the whole time I'm trying to draw lightly right now so I can erase easily because I know I'll be making a lot of adjustments. I'm adding some curvy lines for the eyelids. And then I'm going to shade a little bit right now so I can make the colored part of my eye look a little darker. Although I want the pupil to look the darkest. Now I'm going to think about drawing the nose. And if you were to draw a dotted line from the corner of your eyes down to that next line, that is where the side of your nose or your nostrils should be. If you don't trust me, you can look in the mirror. Once I have the side of my nose drawn in, or the nostrils, I'm going to put little curves for the opening of my nose, and then I'm going to go ahead and erase some of those guidelines so they're not in my way. Once I have the nostrils where I want them, I'm going to start drawing the bridge of my nose. I'm going to make those lines look a little narrower. Then I'm going to start figuring out where the eyebrows go. Again, always sketching lightly so I can make changes. Now I'd like to start working on my mouth again, but to figure out where my mouth should end, how wide my mouth should be, I'm going to lightly draw some guidelines that drop down from the pupil of my eye. And that is actually, if I'm smiling, how wide my grin should be. I'm lightly going to draw the shape of an upper lip, and then I will lightly sketch some lines for a bottom lip. The next thing we're going to draw are some ears. Now we're facing forward, so you're not going to see a whole lot of the ear, but using those lines that we drew earlier, they're going to help guide us where our ears should be, because the top of our ear lines up with the pupil of our eye, and the bottom of our ear actually will line up approximately with the bottom of your nose. I know it seems like it might be big, but trust me. Look in the mirror if you don't believe me. Here's where I usually will add the neck. The neck is going to be a little wider than you would probably think. Remember, your neck has to hold up your head. One of the biggest mistakes I see when people are learning to draw faces is they'll make the neck way too narrow. I'm going to clean up some of these lines that I don't need anymore, get rid of some of the guidelines, and I'm going to go ahead and add some shoulders. If you drew your face large like I did, you won't see much more than the neck and the shoulders in this portrait. The next thing we'll sketch is the placement of the hair. Remember, there's usually bangs or hair on your forehead, and you can decide which way you want the direction of your hair to be going. So I'd start on one side and go down to my ears. And then I also draw a little bit of hair on top of the head shape. Then I take my eraser and I will start to erase some of those lines that I don't need anymore. That original oval that I drew, I'm sort of getting rid of that original shape there, cleaning things up. I'm going to go over everything with a Sharpie so you can see my lines. You don't need to do this step, but I think it'll make it a little bit easier for you to see. And whether you're drawing a boy or a girl, all I would do is just extend the lines to make the hair a little bit longer. I also added lines for the direction of my hair. And I'm going to go back in with a pencil so I can add some shading to make my face look a little bit less flat. If you want to go ahead and do that, that'll really bring your drawing to life. You might even want to use some crayons or marker and add some colors or decorate the shirt. I hope you had fun drawing your face today and feel like you've gotten a little bit better drawing facial proportions.